I am Cynthia Onwando. Here is the news in detail. Suspected Lakura terrorists have launched another deadly attack on a security checkpoint in Kebbi State, killing two police officers along the Bakin Rua Maji Road in Bagudo local government area. Residents in the nearby Samia community attackers stormed the checkpoint in large numbers and indiscriminately on officers stationed at the border. According to eyewitnesses who spoke on condition of anonymity, the gunmen overwhelmed the officers before setting the checkpoint facility ablaze. The attackers reportedly burnt down the tent used by the officers at the checkpoint after carrying out the assault. Confirming the incident, the Kebbi State Police Public Relations Officer Police Bashir Usman said the attack resulted in the death of two officers who were on duty at the border post. He added that the assailants also destroyed the temporary youth officers. Usman assured residents that security agencies to the incident and working to restore order in the area. And now moving on in the news, the Federal High Court discharged and acquitted suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari charge of alleged non-declaration of assets filed against him by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. The reviewing judgment on Thursday, Justice James Omotosho prosecution failed to present sufficient evidence to prove the allegations against Kyari. The Narcotics Agency had accused Kyari and two of his brothers of concealing the origin of certain properties false affidavits. However, the court held that the prosecution did not provide credible documents linking Kyari to the properties cited in the charges. Kelly noted that the agency failed to establish Kyari's ownership of landed property in Fountain Estate in Kasana, which prosecutors alleged was connected to him through a relative. The court also found no proof linking the former police officer to properties located in Linda Chuku Road in the Asokoro area of Abuja. Another property referenced in the case was located in Maiduguri, Borno State. According to the court, the prosecution also failed to demonstrate Kyari's ownership of that property. Justice Omotosho explained that ownership of landed property could be proven through several legal means, including title documents, traditional history, acts of possession, or possession by connection. He noted that none of these evidential requirements were presented before the court by the prosecution. The judge also accepted Kyari's explanation that the Maiduguri property belonged to his late father and was inherited by him and other family members. In addition, the judge ruled that the conspiracy charge filed against Kyari's brothers lacked sufficient evidential backing. Based on the findings, the court discharged and acquitted Kyari and other defendants on all counts. And now the Anambra state government has directed schools to suspend students who fail to attend classes on Mondays without valid justification. The new measure is part of the state's efforts to ensure, or rather to enforce, full academic activities and discourage compliance with the long-running Monday sit-at-home in parts of the southeast. The Commissioner for Education, Professor Ngozi Chumaude, announced the directive while addressing the management of two schools in Onitsha. The schools were summoned by the Ministry of Education following reports of low student attendance on Mondays. According to the Commissioner, the directive was issued by Governor Chukwuma Soludo as part of the administration's plans to restore normal school activities across the state. She stated that any student who fails to attend school on Mondays without valid reasons will face a one-week suspension. The affected schools, Mount Olive School and Springfield Academy and the government residential area of Onitsha, were invited to explain the reported decline in attendance at the beginning of the week. Officials of Mount Olive School told the ministry that attendance had improved in recent weeks. However, representatives of Springfield Academy attributed poor attendance to parents who remain reluctant to send their children to schools on Mondays. Despite the concerns, both schools pledged to improve compliance with the government's directive. The Anambra state government has repeatedly stated it will not allow the sit-at-home order to disrupt education in the state. Authorities say the policy is aimed at protecting students' academic progress and ensuring that schools operate fully throughout the week. And now MultiChoice Group has announced plans to discontinue its streaming platform Showmax following a comprehensive review of its digital strategy. The development comes 5 months after French media company Canal Plus completed the takeover of the South African pay TV operator. In a notice to customers dated March 5th, MultiChoice said the decision was taken after the Showmax board conducted a detailed evaluation of the company's digital operations. According to the company, the move is part of efforts to strengthen its overall digital offering and ensure long-term sustainability in an increasingly competitive streaming market. MultiChoice explained that the streaming industry has become more crowded, with global platforms competing aggressively for audience and market shares. The company also discontinuing Showmax forms part of a broader repositioning of its digital services. Despite the announcement, MultiChoice assured subscribers that the streaming platform will continue operating for now. Customers have been told that there will be no immediate disruption to their current services. Finally, now to sports news. The Confederation of African Football (CAF) has confirmed the schedule for the quarterfinal stage of the Champions League. The competition is set to resume next month following the completion of the draw for the knockout stage. One of the most anticipated fixtures of the round will see Tunisian giants Esperance Sportive de Tunis face defending champions Al Ahly of Egypt. The first leg of the encounter will be played in Riyadh, while the decisive return leg will take place in Cairo. The match renews one of the most historic rivalries in African club football. Both clubs have enjoyed significant success in the competitions and are expected to deliver a high-intensity contest. Elsewhere in the quarterfinals, Morocco's ASFAR will take on Egyptian side Pyramids FC in another highly competitive fixture. South African champions Mamelodi Sundowns will face Mali's Stade Malien in a tie that could produce one of the most surprises of the rounds. In the remaining matchup, Moroccan club Acquits Abba Kyari will battle Sudanese side Al Hilal for a place in the semi-finals. The first legs of the quarter-final matches will begin on March 13. Mamelodi Sundowns will host Stade Malien at 6 p.m. GMT on that day, and later the same evening, ASFAR will face Pyramids FC at 10 p.m. GMT. On March 14, Acquits Abba Kyari will take on Al Hilal at 10 p.m. GMT, and also the second leg matches will determine which 4 teams advance to the semi-finals of Africa's Premier Club competition. That's all the news we have for you on Leadership TV. For more of our news stories, you can log on to our website www.leadership.ng. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 08036886158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 08036886158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.